it is impossible to do these comps across eras, right? I'm doing on the podcast the 50 best players of the last 50 years, Brew. And the reason I'm doing that is because from Kareem to now, it at least feels like it's the same sport. When we're watching this footage, it doesn't feel like it's the same sport. So what do you do with a guy who is unquestionably one of the 3 best players of the Russell Wilt era? It's Cousy, it's Mikan, it's Pettit. What do you do with a guy who was 10-time first-team All-NBA? And my answer is you do the same thing you do with Jesse Owens. You recognize Jesse Owens is one of the greatest sprinters ever. That is true. It is also true that Jesse Owens would not have qualified for the NCAA championships last year. So both of those things can be true. It can be true that Bob Cousy would not be good enough to be a high major Division I player today, and Bob Cousy is one of the greatest players ever, because you can only you don't have a time machine. You can only compete against your era. So do I think that if there were a time machine and Kyrie Irving, who was justifiably left off the All-75 list, was dropped in his present form in 1958, would be the greatest player ever? Of course. And if there was a time machine, Bob Cousy in that form was dropped here today, he would have trouble making the Oregon Ducks basketball team? Of course. But he's still one of the all-time greats. Just like Roger Bannister is one of the all-time greats, even though there's 100 high schoolers right now that can do what he did. Like, that's the myth of the argument. He's not good enough to play now, yet he's better than almost everyone playing now, or, other than 8-9 guys playing now. Both of those things can be true, bro.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, it comes off as disrespectful when you say the great Bob Cousy couldn't have made the Oregon State Beavers basketball team, if that's what they're called. I hear you, though. Here's the thing, Nick. I have a saying to deal with this argument. Superstars of any era would be at least stars in every era. How about that? Superstars of any era would be at least stars in every era. Meaning, sure, yeah, Bob Cousy, as he was today, would struggle. Okay? But give Bob Cousy the benefit of charter flights, right? Travel, no trains, no commercial flights. Give him the benefit of better sneakers, better training, weight training, nutrition, diet, massage, year-round play, even starting at a younger age. A coaching staff of 10 coaches that can help you anytime you want, and better trainers to get your body right. Give him the benefit of all that, and you cannot tell me that Bob Cousy would be every bit as big, and I'd say better, than a Steve Nash. That he couldn't have been a John Stockton. That he couldn't have been a Chris Paul. He could have. And that goes for any of the great players of that era. Give them the benefits, not to mention watching their predecessors. Like kids today can watch Magic Johnson, watch Michael Jordan, watch LeBron James, and take from it and learn. So give them all of that, and they would be stars, Wilds. And I'm going to say this, too. Even without that, Cousy, in this little film, I hope people have been watching this footage. He made 6 passes. 6 passes in 1957 or 63 or whenever that is, that players today, most of them do not make. 6 passes that I've only seen Magic Johnson make some of those passes. And Bill Russell only shot 44%. But he couldn't play today because he was only 6'9", 6'10". What is Robert Williams doing? Wreaking havoc as a 6'8" center for the Celtics who can't shoot. Draymond Green, 6'6" center who can't shoot. Ben Wallace, 6'9" center who couldn't shoot. Defensive Player of the Year, Hall of Famer. So Wilds, we got to be careful just dismissing these guys because they played years ago, decades ago.
I agree with you. I think athletics, academics, and the arts, if you were a star, it would probably translate. Yes, I do think Beethoven could make a drill beat. I think it'd probably be pretty good. And here's the other thing to bring it up to modern day, because you start to see it creep into sort of modern day talk. It's like, well, Michael Jordan, LeBron. Jordan couldn't shoot threes. Look at it. Look how many threes he shot. Jordan couldn't shoot threes. That is the cousin of this argument. Like, well, look, but you have to apply the same thing. You have to assume that if Michael Jordan grew up with a three-point line and the benefit of knowing the strategy, then yes, he would become a better three-point shooter. And I know you're going to say no, Nick. Of course, no, he should. No, that was it. He shot did he shoot in the 20s or early or low 30s?
No, he shot the same as Kobe.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.